Hi students, and welcome to week 7 in online general psychology. Congratulations, we are almost to the end. This week in week 7, you'll only have one chapter and it's our very last chapter. Next week, week 8, all that you have left to do for that is the final exam. And the final exam, I just want to put it on your radar, will be due Thursday, October 14th. That's Thursday, October 14th. So welcome to your last week in terms of new content and our last chapter. So this week, for our last chapter, we will be covering chapter 15, which is over psychological disorders. So I feel like we have been building towards this chapter all semester. By this point, you know how the brain works, the neurons work, you understand the endocrine system, you understand behavior, hopefully, at a basic level. And so now we put that all together in understanding psychological disorders. So I think oftentimes students, when they first come into a psychology class, think, the first thing that comes to mind is the mental health aspect, are all the psychological disorders. But as you have seen, there's many things involved in the field of psychology. So I hope that you apply all of that learning from chapters previous, and now we start understanding all the psychological disorders. So for this week, you have a narrated PowerPoint. You have a 2 Connect assignments. One is on distinguishing abnormality, and the other one is on major depressive disorder. And then you have your chapter 15 post-test. So I know last week was a heavy week. You had your critical analysis of a research article and lots of other things. So this week, I hope that you can sit back a little bit and enjoy learning about the psychological disorders. It's also my hope that from this chapter, you glean this sense of empathy and understanding and knowledge about psychological disorders. There's so many misconceptions and biases against mental health, and I hope that this chapter just helps to unravel some of those misgivings about psychological disorders. And in addition to what we have here for that's due by Sunday, again, that's 2 Connect assignments and your chapter post-test. That's what is due for this week, all due by Sunday, October 10th. I also have put a file in here to help just give you some information about the final exam. So the best way to study for the final exam is to go through and review all of the post-test. So once you take chapter 15 post-test, then you will have all of them completed, and that's your best study guide. So the final exam will cover chapters 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, and 15. That's 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, and 15. It will be 100 questions that come from those, not each chapter, 100 questions total. And you'll have 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours to complete the exam. So make sure that when you enter into the exam that you have a large window of time. This isn't something you can start and stop. So you want to make sure that you have all of the time ready. I need to change this because I am actually giving, let me do that right now. Oh, sorry. That you have until Thursday. I changed this today so that you have a little bit more time. So make sure that your final exam is completed by Thursday, right at 11:59, and good luck on it. Sometimes students are worried that once they go back into the quizzes that they've already taken, that it will somehow change their grade or open it back up. You're fine. Your grade has already been captured. So you're really just going back and looking at those, reviewing them just like you would right after you take it. And of course, since they're graded, you'll have, if you had a incorrect answer, you can see that was incorrect and you can't redo it, but then you can learn from that for the final exam. So I hope that gives you an idea here of what we're doing for this week with chapter 15, as well as looking ahead and preparing for your final exam. So have a great week 7, and probably only one more announcement from me, which will be reminding you about the final exam and its due date. So as always, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I will say that it has absolutely been a pleasure being your professor this semester. I know flex courses move very quick, and psychology has so much content in it. We covered everything we would have if it was a 16-week course that I taught. So I didn't pull anything out for you guys. So I'm so proud of you for keeping up with the pace, doing so well, turning in such thoughtful work. I wish you each and every one of you the very best in your future. And if I can ever be of any help to you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. So best of luck to you all. Take care. Good luck this week on week 7 assignments, and good luck on the final exam next week. Take care.